Hello, welcome to Mission Driven Monday. My name is Chantel Adams, and I am here with Amber Robinson. Amber is a composer, a pianist, and a teacher. And I met her back in 2011 or 2012. We were at the Indianapolis Christian Writers Conference. And I really just decided I was going to put myself out there while I was there. And I met some really wonderful friends that have remained friends to this day. And like I said, she's from Indianapolis, which, as you all know, is near and dear to my heart because I went to college in Indiana. And so it really is my pleasure to interview Amber today. She never ceases to surprise me. Actually, right after we met, you wrote a book called Mercy Rising. Is that right?
I did. Yes, I did.
Yes. And I read that book, and it's a beautiful book about, I don't know, kindness, and just it's a really beautiful book about serving others. And she recently written a piano book for kids. It's called
Piano Lessons for Kids.
Piano Lessons for Kids. There you go. Piano Lessons for Kids.
Simple, yeah.
And you don't even have to be in Indiana to get Amber to teach your kid piano, because you can get this book and it comes with these online lessons, and I cannot wait to try this with my own kids. So anyway, welcome, Amber. It's so good to have you here.
It's great being here. It's nice to talk to you. I feel like when I met Chantel, it was like for a brief period of time, but I'm like, we're going to be friends forever. And I think I interviewed her on my website back when I was doing Mercy Rising, because she was doing some fun stuff with her kids for Halloween or something.
Oh, yeah.
Simple ways to help people in your community. So
cool. Yeah. So fun. It's so fun. It's so fun to see how people like cycle back through your lives and are doing different things. Like we probably, neither one of us could imagine what we're doing now. If you asked us back then.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So anyway, Amber, I hope you'll get down to Atlanta one day so I can actually see you in person.
Definitely. I want to come to Catalyst sometime. Is that still in Atlanta?
Yeah, I hope you do. I would love that. So anyway, we always ask the same 3 questions every week. And so I'm excited to ask Amber these questions because I haven't talked to her in a long time, so I really have no idea what she's going to say. But here we go. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm totally ready.
So, first question is, I want you to tell me about your proudest accomplishment. When you think through all the things that you've done over the years, when you look back, what are you most proud of?
I would say anytime that I could serve somebody, I think is my proudest accomplishment, which I know that sounds the opposite of what you're asking. But I feel like I serve people in a couple different ways. One is from like piano coaching. I have little kids all the way up to like high school kids, and I've seen them grow and change. And just, I think the biggest impacts we can make on people are like the simplest everyday things that we do. So having those kids every week in lessons, serving them. Recently, like what you talked about is the Piano Lessons for Kids book. I'm super proud of that, partly because the company that published that book, they specialize in, any kid can take it, but if you're a struggling reader with dyslexia or autism, the woman who owns the company, she had a dyslexic daughter, and all the books are published, not just my book, are published in a dyslexia-friendly font, which means they're like weighted in a certain way. There's borders in the book. There's very little like type or print. So kids who might have trouble taking like normal lessons, there's a lot of moving around also in the video. So like we're serving a area of students that might not be served as well before. So I'm super proud that I can be part of her company, and I think it's called like Thinking Tree Books. And so she's got all sorts of books, like art books, math books, science books. And like the book is like in a workbook kind of way where they can color. So I'm just super proud to like help people who might not be maybe able to afford lessons or can't travel there, or maybe you live in a rural area and there's not like qualified teachers in your area. So I'm super proud of that. And it actually made the #1 Amazon new release in 2000.
I saw that.
Crazy.
That's really exciting. Well, and I didn't know all that stuff that you just said about it being like, especially for kids who are struggling readers or dyslexic. And it's something.
Yeah, and any kid can have fun with it. But I
Oh,
love that.
yeah, absolutely. But I think especially for those kids, like so often they are marginalized from doing other things. And something that parents don't really talk about that often is just to know that it's so accessible. Makes me really excited to check out the other resources from that publishing company. So I'll make sure that I post links to both your piano book as well as to the other resources that are available out there.
Yeah, and she has hundreds of books, yeah. And all like, it could be like birds, ocean, spelling, it's everything.
Whatever you're interested in. That's pretty
especially
cool.
with summer coming up, if you need something for your kids to do, like pick whatever you're interested in, and those are just fun things to have around the house in the summer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and I love what you said about serving others, because I think there's a quote, and oh gosh, I don't want to get it wrong. I feel like it's by George Washington Carver, but it could be by somebody, it might be by somebody different. I'll check on this before I post it. But it says that the happiest people are those that do the most for others. That's a real thing, you know? So I hope that you're happy.
Yeah, and I think it was also just reinforced, like last weekend we had like a farewell party for our friends who are moving to Denver, and like she's like one of my best friends, and another one of my friends had the idea. At the end of the night we went around and just said one word that summed up about these people, and it just made me think of like at the end of our lives, like all it's gonna matter is like how much we serve people.
Yeah.
So that was like another good reminder, like none of the stuff we think are our biggest accomplishments really matter. It's like how much we invested into the lives of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Well, that kind of leads us into our next question. And this is a question that I like to ask people because I feel like just personally, I'm a learner. I love to learn from other people. I love to learn from books. I love online courses. Like, I just can't get enough of learning. I probably would have stayed in school my whole life if I could have afforded it. But when you think about what you're learning right now in this season, and you can answer this however you want, what are you learning right now in this season of life?
Actually, I'm in a writer's group. It was actually right after you and I met. We're in a group, and we often recommend books to each other. And one of my friends had recommended this book called Essentialism for a long time. And I kind of thought it was minimalism, like Marie Kondo, clean up your house. And I like to be kind of tidy. So I'm like, that's not a book I need to read. But this was not this book at all. And I actually reread it 2 or 3 times, like parts of it. And it's about basically finding in your life and work what's essential and building everything around it. And it was so like life-changing in my business and in my like personal life. I think I had been saying yes to too many things. Like I like a lot of things, and I say yes to too many things. And so I feel like I've been working through that book and thinking about, I think one thing that got me is the word priority means one, and how we use the word priorities.
Yes.
Like, I've got 15 priorities. So like, I think as women though, we're just like, we want to push back. We're like, well, we can't just do one thing. And I don't think that's what the book is saying. It's saying like, kind of like the analogy of like, fit the big rocks in your life first and fit the small rocks around them.
Yep.
So my big rock right now is I'm, working on the piano lesson for teens, piano lessons for adults, books. So I've had to say no to some things so I can like do some deep work, some deep focus times, and then I fit other things around it, and it's just worked a lot better.
Yeah. So I read Essentialism a couple of years ago too.
Oh my gosh. Okay, good.
And I had the same response to it as you did. I felt like it was life-changing. That like you said, the priority, we have a priority. We don't have priorities. And there's something else I read recently. I don't know if you read this, but it's like called the 90-91 rule. I don't think that was.
Go ahead, tell me.
But it's like take the next 90 days and focus the first 90 minutes of every day on your number one priority and see what you can get accomplished. And I love that idea too of, okay, I'm saying that this is my priority and that this is the most essential thing. Well, how can I actually make that happen? Well, to spend the first 90 minutes of every day for the next 90 days on it.
Yes.
That would take.
You definitely have to put it in your calendar or it won't, like somehow in your schedule, it won't get done.
Yeah.
I'm also learning, which sounds like opposite of that, the value of just playing. Like when I do creative work, it's like very different than like when I was in school having to finish like homework or something. Like, so along with that structure of essentialism, I'm also paradoxically or ironically or oppositely learning like I need to schedule time in my schedule just for play. Like we have a art museum membership. So it's nice. It's not in my field, but it's like in an arts field, or we'll go to like a play or something once a week. Not always something that costs anything, but just to kind of like give my art and creativity some energy. And I heard it once, like there was a writing book called The Kite in the Sky. Like we have to have the kite that moves and breathes and has energy, which is the fun, but you also have to have the string, which is the schedule, get it done, work, essentialism stuff. So I feel like I'm learning both things
at the same time.
I feel like if I get too scheduled, the art like loses its energy. But if I'm all like fun, then nothing gets done.
Okay, tell me if you've ever done this when you've gone to the art gallery or the museum, because I heard that this was kind of a thing, and I've never tried it, but I've been wanting to. Is that when you're stuck on a problem or you're trying to work through something, to go to an art gallery and to find like a painting or a piece of art that really speaks to you and just spend like 30 minutes focused on it, like just staring at it, just kind of like letting it wash over you. And it'll be amazing, like what you might be able to discover or solve if you're working through a problem. And when I read about this, the example that they gave was this guy was talking about how he just couldn't see past a certain thing. It just was having trouble like figuring out like, I just don't know how to solve this problem. And so there was a painting, and in the painting is a woman who's standing next to a window, and she's like looking out the window's shut and she can't get out. And he's like, but right behind her was an open door, and all she had to do was walk through it. And so for him, all of a sudden it like triggered something in his mind of like, what's that door that I'm not seeing that's right behind me, that all I have to do is walk through it? And I just wonder, have you ever had an experience like that where you've been like in the museum or you've been in the art gallery and you've had an epiphany like that?
That sounds really disciplined to sit there that long. I've never tried it, but I might. Now that you said that, I normally like the act of walking and moving kind of gets me unstuck. So I don't normally just sit in one place. I just feel like the main thing that I've gotten out of it is that they're like the value of beauty. Like I live in Indianapolis, so like in the winter it's kind of long, you know, between November and like March. It's still like it looks like winter out here.
Right.
I mean, it's in the 50s, but the tree, you know.
Yeah.
So I think what is like it just reaffirms like there's goodness and beauty and like how important the arts are, because I feel like you can just get to where it's like discouraged, like the arts aren't important. So I feel like I don't know if I've had like a specific like epiphany like that. It just kind of gets me excited and refueled. And like even my little tiny like phone camera, like I'll take pictures, and they have a big orchid display in February every year in the last couple of years. So it's really cool to see that against the stark like winter.
Oh yeah. 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 That's really cool.
And it kind of feels like Narnia at the end when like the snow melts and like.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's kind of interesting. Like you can't look at them too long. I mean, there's always something new in them, in the paintings.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, this leads us to our third question, our third and final question. And this is the one where I want to talk about the future you. So when you think about your aspirational self and kind of the person that you're becoming and who you want to be and the legacy that you're leaving, what does that look like for you, Amber? Is that something that you think about?
I do, only because I'm like, I really love business stuff. As you can tell, like I like reading business books, and almost all of them talk about making a mission statement. And I actually like on my workflow, I have my mission statement, and then I have my main goals for that quarter. So I look at it every week. I didn't used to. That's like a new thing since January. I always had it. Then people would ask me what that was, and I'd be like, I don't know. But looking at it every week, so I have a long one, which I won't say, but I have a short one.
Okay.
So my mission is to make audaciously excellent music products and to coach other people to do the same thing.
Oh.
So I think, yeah, I just feel like a lot of times in our world, things are hurried and like kind of shoddy work. And since I coach kids, teenagers too, we're always talking about excellence and like doing your best. And someone's best looks different than someone else's best, but being excellent, I think, is a huge thing. So I would hope that my legacy, you know, after I'm gone, are those kids are still making music. We have a writers group, and we're actually making an arts community right now. I think we're like working on a conference coming up, but like, I don't know, that people will be gathering as artists together, and art, I'm using that vaguely, like it could be photographers, musicians. So I would hope that there would be songs that I've written that people still listen to. And my husband and I are actually composing stuff for film, TV, movie, ad stuff, which we didn't even talk about that, but yeah. But like, in that music would be in good TV, film, ads. It wouldn't just be in like stuff that's not good for you. So about excellence, I think that's what I would hope my like legacy would be. And like, I think we talked about before we started filming, you and I, about how like music changes your brain for health. And I think so many people, either in art or in music, think that I can only do art or I can only do music if I'm a professional musician, if I'm a professional artist. And so I think that everyone should be making music just for their own health. Like if you like to sing or play guitar or play piano, it just lights up all the areas of your brain. It's like therapy, but cheaper. And so I would just hope that there's all these people making music and they're having healthier lives and they're being excellent. So
I wish we lived close by. I would love for you to, I would love for you to help me make music, because I feel like it's a thing that I struggle with. I love music. I remember that your husband was a composer as well. And I think he had a CD that came out about the time that we met. And I remember listening to it the whole way home. And it was just beautiful. But I'm tone deaf. And so I can't recreate any music that sounds good at all. But I always wondered if like there was somebody out there that could maybe help me with that. Like, or if you're tone deaf, like, sorry. It's a, you know, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, anyone can make music because you can keep a beat. And actually, for your listener or viewers, there's things called recreational music making communities everywhere. So you can look that up. You can just Google that.
Okay, cool.
And you can even do some of those in groups. So you're not like totally by yourself, and they're actually a little cheaper if you do it in groups. I remember one time we were hanging out with some friends, and Aaron was playing guitar. My husband was playing guitar. And I got out my like little kids, like when I used to teach music at public school, I had like a box of like shakers and different things. And so I passed it out, and these are all adults. And I made them play along. And one of the girls was like, I can't keep a beat. So I like held her hand over the egg shaker and I did the shaking like with her. And she started crying. And she's like, this is an adult. She's like, I have not like made music since like elementary music school. And she's like, I always want to like sing along or play along, but she's like, I think I'm terrible at music. So if we think about back to like African like societies or like even like Spanish societies, everyone makes music. But in America, we're like, you have to be on stage and be like famous. So Chantel, you totally can. You can drum along, you can sing along. And the thing with piano is you can make chords pretty easily. Even if you think you're tone deaf and can't sing, you can play. You can do it.
Okay, I'll give it a try. I want to try. My goal this year is like to try new things. So I'm gonna look at the recreational music places. Sounds cool.
Yeah, and do you remember the craze a couple years ago where everyone was like adult coloring?
Yes.
So I think that's like what I'm talking about. How like people thought they had to be an artist to like draw or color. It's the same thing with music. Like everyone can do it recreationally.
Yeah, that's cool. Maybe that'll be my new thing. I'll let you know how it goes.
You should try it, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have loved talking to you. This has been such a great conversation, and I feel like I've learned so much from you. And I wish we lived closer. I wish I could be in that writers group with all of you, and wish I could be making music and just all the wonderful things that you're doing. It's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
we'll have to hang out more. This is good.
Well, I mean, and I usually, honestly, I get to Indiana at least once or twice a year. I need to call you when I'm there.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Amber.
Thanks for having me. This was super fun.
You're welcome.